Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. I hope that you guys are doing well and that you guys are having a beautiful October this far. So I know that at some point in your life there has been something that has knocked down your confidence. It could be failure, it could be a relationship that failure, it could be people saying things, it could be where you grew up, just a lot of factors that could have contributed to your confidence being knocked down, even if you are highly confident right now and you have recovered. And on today's video, I just want us to talk a little bit about how you can begin to boost your confidence and just understanding the reason why you need to be able to boost your confidence. Now, you guys know I always tie my personal experiences in majority of the things I talk about, because I only majority of the time share things or revelations that have come to me based on a certain experience. And I do remember growing up and like obviously being an adult and in different situations and in different points of my life where my confidence was just like getting to a point where people will tell you and people will brag about how pretty you are, but you don't feel it. Like people will, and it's not even like about a looks thing, but like just not knowing what's inside of you, but having other people thinking highly of you, but in your mind you're just like, how do you guys see that in me? Because I don't see it at all. And one of the biggest things for me was getting to a point where I become self-confident and I become treating myself like the girl that I think I am. I've been talking a lot about this for quite a while now, but I'm sure you guys have kind of picked that up, that Digla game of treating myself like the girl that I think I am, because that's how I'm working on my confidence. But I found something interesting that I want to share with you guys that I think that is going to be super valuable as far as helping you boost your confidence. There is a definition that I found. I actually wrote it down, so I'm going to read it out to you guys. The definition I found about what self-confidence is, because normally when I do these videos, I want to be able to kind of give you guys definitions and things that are applicable, like things that make sense. You know, it's easier to like type on Google and get a definition of something, but it's like, can you apply it? Does it make sense? Like, is it relatable? Sometimes not. And then Isingisi, George, in the way, you know, you want it to be super helpful. But I found something by a psychologist called Nathaniel Brandon. Please definitely do check him out. He's got a bit of his work out, and he defines self-esteem as the reputation you have with yourself. That made me think. I was like, that is actually true. Now, if we look at the word reputation, the reputation is basically your perspective, your ideas, and how you view something or something. And if you look at people that are in the public media, we all have something to say about someone in the public eye. We all have something to say about the latest rapper, about the latest song, about its reputation, about what they did, who they dated, who they spoke to, because that's the reputation that we have towards them, right? But at the same light, we all have something to say about what we've done, what we've said, who we've spoken to, the people we've been in relationships with, as far as we are concerned. We also have a reputation that we have to maintain and that we have to even think about as far as we are concerned. And I found that super interesting, because that's not a conversation we have majority of the time. Like, you having a reputation about yourself is just like, I mean, come on. But half the time, we are more concerned about the reputation that we have with other people. That's why we all don't walk around looking not confident or looking like we don't love ourselves. We all walk around pretending like we do, but when you are alone and you're at home and you are doing your thing, only you know what it is that you are going through. So it is important to actually get that definition, that self-esteem is the reputation you have with yourself. So I want you to actually ask yourself right now, what reputation do you have with yourself? When you think about yourself, what reputation do you have with yourself? And I've done a video that talks about, you know, how to actually boost yourself a little bit more I'm actually going to put it up here and link it down below. And one of the things that we said about is your ability to trust yourself comes from the fact that you've let yourself down multiple times. And that also goes with your self-esteem. When you've let yourself down multiple times, the reputation you have with yourself is not great, because you are just sitting there like, cool, shucks, like so far I haven't been okay and I haven't done things the way that I should have, so therefore maybe I'm not trustworthy to myself. And that's actually where the self-esteem actually starts. So it is important to realize that you can either build up your reputation or you can break it down. If you have been on social media, and if you possibly are on social media, you know that there's quite a lot of personalities and people, celebrities, whatever you want to call them, that have had such bad reputations but managed to actually build themselves up into actually pulling themselves out of that rut and restoring their reputation towards the public. But I want you to know that you can actually do that very same thing for yourself. You can actually work on your own reputation for you to be able to have a good reputation about yourself, which is basically building up your self-esteem. And on this video, actually, I just want to share with you this one thing, and I want us to actually elaborate it a little bit more to be able to help you. I definitely think that the trusting yourself video is going to be so helpful. I'm going to put it up here again, and I'm going to link it down here below, because I think it's going to give you a little bit more context, because I think it covers a lot more trusting yourself and just knowing that you can do it and being a little bit more confident. But here's one thing that I want to share with you guys in this video, and that your level of self-esteem is essential to your level of motivation and your level of productivity. So the reason why we are having this conversation today is for you to understand that if you don't have the right self-esteem, if you don't have the correct self-esteem, you're not going to be able to be that productive. You're not going to be able to actually push for all that Vision 2020 and for all your goals, because you don't even believe you can do it. So why do it in the first place? And that's why sometimes people don't start, because they don't have enough self-esteem to actually do it. So the first thing that the only thing actually that I want to share with you guys in this video as far as developing your self-esteem is raise the bar on yourself. And I want us to elaborate this a little bit more further so that you get a bit of understanding of what this actually means. Raising the bar means you're basically just raising the standard for yourself. Majority of the time, number one, that you have been unable, or that you've been super unhappy with the decisions that you've made, is because your standards were low. And I want that to sink in. Sometimes we accept a little less than we deserve, and that is lowering our standards for other people. And then you get upset, and then your self-esteem is low because you've accepted something that was below your standard. But imagine if you raised your standard and you still kept to that standard, and you fought to get something that is at that standard that you truly want. Chances are you will definitely get whatever it is that you deserve in whatever place that it is. And I am talking holistically with every single thing that you do. Keep your standards high. Raise your bar. Raise your standards for yourself. And don't do it for the other person that's watching, or for your family, or for other people that have opinions, and whatever the case is. Do that for you. You need to get to a point where you love yourself enough to know that I don't deserve this. Where you love yourself enough to know that I need to do this for myself. Where you love yourself to know that I am responsible for my life, my future, and every single thing that I want to do. And I owe it to me to be able to be the best me possible right now. You owe that to yourself. You don't owe anyone else hard work except you. And that is the honest truth you need to realize as far as building your self-esteem is. If you raise the bar for yourself, you will see your self-esteem begin to actually lift. And this is how this works, right? And we've spoken about this multiple times, but let me give it to you in this context. If you had been running 100 meters every single day, right? And then you're like, Yazini, after 100 meters, I am tired all the time. I'm just going to stick to 100 meters. And then tomorrow morning, you're like, how about today I do 120? I know I'm exhausted, but let me try do 120. What have you done? Raise the bar for yourself. And then you run that 120. After you've run that 120, you know what's going to happen? You're still probably going to feel a little bit more tired, or even the same amount of tiredness. But you're like, it's not that bad. I can do 120. What have you done? You've upped up your standard. So if you've done 100 on Monday, and then you did 120 on Tuesday, what do you think you're going to do on Wednesday? You are definitely not going to go back to 100. You're going to do 120 because you have convinced yourself in your mind that you can do 120, so you're going to move. But what you also need to realize is that because you've triggered your mind to the fact that you can do more, you are going to constantly do 120 for a little while longer, while you think about 150, while you think about 180, while you think about 200, while you think about 200 and something meters. But because that's how our brains work. The moment we begin to raise the standard in our minds activate themselves to continuously want to raise it. And what we need to realize that the mind is like a muscle. The more you work on it, the more it actually becomes a lot more better. It's like we talk about reading. If you want to develop yourself into something, the more books, the more podcasts, the more things you start educating yourself about that particular topic, the more you're actually going to win, because you are training your mind to think the way that you want it to think, so that you're able to say the things that you believe that you're meant to say, and the things that you definitely want to be able to be saying as far as certain conversations and topics are concerned. So realize that your self-esteem is central to who you are. It is central to all the work that you do, and it comes out. That's the funny thing. Majority of the time we can walk around pretending like everything is fine, and we are hunky-dory, and we are super excited about life, and you can convince everyone that, but you can't convince your own self that everything is perfect. You can't convince your own self that everything is fine. So you need to get yourself to that point where you begin to believe that, wait a minute, I can do this. But you can only begin to do that by raising the bar for yourself. And that's like the first thing that I want to share with you guys. I had a list of things I wanted to name as far as building self-esteem is concerned, but let's take it one step at a time. This is the first thing that I want you to do. I want to challenge you this week to raise the bar for yourself. I want to challenge you this week to say, if you've been doing something at a certain level, try to do it a little bit more. If you've been waking up at 10, you've been waking up at 9. There are people that do wake up at 10. Don't know why. But if you've been waking up at 6, right? Raise the bar. Try do it at 5:30. Challenge yourself a little bit more, because guys, the more you challenge yourself, the more you actually realize, "Hey man, I'm a winner. Like, there's this thing, I can do it." And that will help you develop a beautiful relationship with yourself. So what are we going to do this week? We are going to go and we are going to raise the bar. And we're not going to raise anyone else's bar. We're not going to take anyone else's bar that is already raised and then raise it in our lives. No, we're going to raise our own bar based on the things that we are capable of, based on the things that we are currently doing. But we're just going to up it a notch a little bit. And I want you to watch how your self-confidence is going to slowly rise. And this also goes for your relationships. This also goes for people that you are around. This also goes for your work. This also goes for the job that you're employed to do. This also goes for your business. If you can just up it a little bit, if you can just up it at 1%, you don't even have to do it at 50, at 20, at 30. If you can just up it at 1%, obviously I would recommend you to up it a little bit more. Just up it as much as you can, but as realistically as possible. But if you can just up it at 1%, you're going to see the results that you're going to have internally and externally as well. So I hope that this video kind of gave you a little bit of insight. You guys know I talk so much, and in my talking I always want to elaborate and give you guys so much value. And I also hope that this video was that valuable to you, and it kind of gave you those, you know, power punches that would be able to help you become a little bit more self-confident. Thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy this video, please do give it a thumbs up, and feel free to share it with someone that you know definitely needs a video like this to be able to assist them and to pump them up a little bit. So have yourself a beautiful one. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you next time. Subscribe to the channel.